Let me greet you. This is Star Master Lee DEAWONG greeting you. Yes, it seemed like the heat was letting up, but now it's back in full force, isn't it? I sincerely welcome all of you who chose to be here instead of going on a late August vacation. Is there anyone here for the first time today? Ah, yes, there are quite a few of you. It's actually my first time at this event as well. Since my lecture is also aimed at beginners, I will do my best to make it helpful before I step down. Before I started this work, I majored in film directing and production at university. And then I joined a film company and spent all day running around on set. Did I go home maybe once or twice a year? The money I earned working like that was about 200,000 won a month. And even then, if the movie couldn't be released or the investment fell through, there were countless times I didn't get paid for my work. But my seniors told me that people who work in film shouldn't expect to make much money. They taught me that just seeing your name in the ending credits should make you proud. I was also working hard, dreaming that one day I could start my own film company and earn royalties, but then one day, my mother called me in tears. She said, "Your father has started doing multi-level marketing again." Yes. Actually, my father had already failed at 5 different multi-level marketing companies over 17 and a half years. And at that time, we were already living in a greenhouse in an industrial area in Hanam Gyeonggi province. But even there, after being evicted as a couple with bad credit, he promised the family, "I will never do multi-level marketing again." He was working an ordinary job, but then suddenly heard about a multi-level marketing company called Atomy from his boss. And despite not even owning a house, he opened a center in Yongno. It's just so absurd. The family was really angry, and in the case of my aunt, she even said, "Isn't this like a gambling addiction?" She went around collecting signatures to have him admitted to a psychiatric hospital for addiction treatment. So when I got really angry, my father just smiled at me and said, "Hey, this company has eliminated all the downsides of every multi-level marketing scheme I've ever done. Why can't you understand that?" He also said that if I could find even one bad thing about it, he would quit. That one statement really challenged me deep inside. From the next day, I started going to the Yongno Center. But do you think I was able to find anything bad about it or not? I couldn't. The reason was that the company had only just been established. You couldn't even find the company name on Naver. So the only thing I could do was just experience it for myself. I kept going to work every day. But as time went by, now I am a member of the Leaders Club, steadily earning an annual salary of 100 million won. Yes. My father, who once tried to stop me, has become an Imperial Master, the highest rank, and my aunt, who also tried to stop me, has also become an Imperial Master. Now, I hope you don't go through the same trial and error as I did. Today, I'll share my experience, and also, Atomy now has a lot of objective indicators accumulated. I'll show you those, so you can make your own judgment. I guess I was destined to do network marketing. Since I kept going to Yongno Triga to try to stop my father, my girlfriend, who worked at the same film company, asked me why I kept going to Yongno Triga instead of Chungmuro these days. So I told her that my father had actually gotten involved in multi-level marketing and I was going there to try to stop him. She just laughed and said, "Oh, that's not a bad thing. Why don't you look into it yourself?" It turned out that my girlfriend's parents had been doing Amway in the US for 10 years. Later, when we got married and had the formal family meeting, we actually made a promise, like a truce agreement, not to criticize each other's multi-level marketing involvement. And that's how the meeting went. So, after some time had passed and I was making about 4 to 5 million won from Atomy, I went to persuade my father-in-law. But my father-in-law said something unexpected. He said, "Hey, I know your Atomy products are better. I also know they're cheaper. And I know your compensation plan is easier too. But you guys are a Korean company." And then he showed me this news article. At the time, the news said that Korean network marketing companies couldn't survive for more than 5 years. As time went on, that number dropped to just 2 years. And it just so happened that Atomy was in its 4th year at that time. What's the point of making a lot of money or your father doing well if the company doesn't last? It might go bankrupt next year, you know. So I said, Atomy can last 20 years in Korea and 60 years globally, just like Amway. But my father-in-law said, "We'll see when the time comes." Back then, those words were really shocking to me, but now I think they were actually wise. Not long ago, I went with my partners to a lecture on the book The Psychology of Wealth by cognitive psychologist Professor Kyung-gil Kim. During the lecture, the professor asked a question, and I'd like to ask you all the same question. Is there anyone here who was born after the 1970s? After the 1970s. Oh, there are quite a lot of you. Congratulations. You all might be able to live up to 140 years old. This is actually true. According to data released by a research team in Georgia, USA, with the rapid advancement of medical and scientific technology, people can now live up to 140 years old, starting from those born after the 1970s. The Gompertz formula, which calculates human lifespan, started to become inaccurate from the 1950s. Isn't that kind of terrifying? Even if you only live to 100, if you retire in your 50s, you have to work for 50 years. But what happens if you live to 140? That's 90 years. But then the professor added one more thing. He said that for my son's generation, living to 140 is a given. That's why having a system income is so important. But the important thing is, if the company Atomy, where we're going to work, is going to go out of business in 2 or 5 years, is it even worth looking into? Is it? Of course not. So first, I'd like to talk a bit about the management. Now first, here's Atomy's current report card. Its global consolidated sales have reached a staggering 2.4 trillion won. And then we've expanded into 26 countries. How many countries is that, including Korea? That's 27 countries. We are accepting member registrations from 114 countries. With 15 million members worldwide, we also have global buying power. Even just up to this point, what do you think? It seems like a pretty solid company, doesn't it? But according to Direct Selling News in the US, when ranked solely by sales, which companies make it into the global top 10? Atomy is included. There may be some companies you already know. Among Korean companies, Kawaii is also on the list. So if after seeing all this, you think this is better than the company you currently work for or your own business, then you should consider learning more about Atomy while continuing what you're doing now. The next slide I'm going to show you is this one. Not long ago, CEO Score released a report on the stability indicators of distribution companies based on their financial statements' sales figures. Not just companies in our industry, but in the entire distribution sector. This includes companies like Coupang, known for fast delivery, and also large groups like Shinsegae, which owns major supermarkets and department stores. There's also that company that sells all kinds of great daily necessities for just a few thousand won. But let me explain these indicators in simpler terms. What is the cash ratio? Hey Atomy, pay back your money right now. It's about whether you can pay back the money in cash if someone says that. There's an overwhelming amount of cash right now, 140%. What is the current ratio? It means that if you tried to pay off your debts with your assets, you'd have enough current assets to pay them off 3 times over and still have some left. Now the operating profit to interest coverage ratio. This ratio shows how much of the company's operating profit is needed to pay bank interest. What does it say right now? It's 0. So does that mean the company has bank debt or not? It means there isn't a single penny of it. We call this zero debt management. But if there isn't a single penny of bank interest, then what about the debt ratio? It's this. So what is the debt ratio? You know how Atomy members receive their weekly pay, right? And then, for our partner companies that supply our products, we pay them in cash within a month. The money we hold onto for a short while is recorded as debt. Now let's take a look at the average in the cosmetics industry. This shows the average in the cosmetics industry. The red line is Atomy, the blue line is the cosmetics industry, and the green line is the Bank of Korea average. You've just seen the 4 indicators on the right, so let's take a look at the top and bottom on the left. There's the equity ratio. What does that mean? It shows the company's ability to operate using its own funds. What percentage is Atomy's red line at? It's close to 90%. The average in the cosmetics industry operates with about 50% equity. Shall we look at the one below that? Debt dependency ratio. This shows how much the company relies on bank money. What about Atomy? It's 0-0, so that means they don't rely on bank money at all. But what about the cosmetics industry? Generally, they rely on it for about 20 to 30%. So which organization creates these management indicators? It's one of Korea's top 3 corporate rating agencies. It's Nice Credit Rating Company. What is Atomy's rating right now? It's AA. When this report came out in May last year, Atomy was rated A. But is the economy good right now? Or is it bad? It's bad, but Atomy's rating went up 1 level to AA. Now the only one left is AAA. When it comes to AAA, people in the industry usually say that it's a company that's safe even if a war breaks out. That's a bit of a joke, of course. But among Atomy's global branches, there is actually a country at war right now. There is a country at war. Which country is it? It's Russia. What do you think happened in Russia last year? Atomy's Russian branch grew by 35%. It achieved an annual sales revenue of about 200 billion won. Even during a war, do people use daily necessities or not? They proved that people do use them. So what does this data show? It shows that Atomy has a lot of cash, not a single penny of debt, and is a company that anyone can safely do business with. Has this been objectively proven or not? It has been proven, right? So Chairman Park Han-gil said that he is rewriting the history of network marketing, but honestly, I don't quite agree with that statement. Because I think he has already gone beyond network marketing and is now setting new standards in the entire distribution industry. Isn't that right? Yes. Now, next, for the first time in this industry, we received the Consumer-Centered Management CCM certification. Do you know what this certification is? Have you ever heard of CCM? Yes. Whom are all the business activities of a company centered around? The consumer. This certification verifies whether a company is truly centered around the consumer, but the certification process itself is quite intense. One is the Fair Trade Commission and the other is the Korea Consumer Agency. It takes 2 years from preparation to completion to get certified. Once certified, you can put the CCM mark on your products, but you can't just keep using it. You have to get recertified every 2 years. How many times did we do that? We did it 3 times. Personally, I think the part our members can relate to most quickly is the call center. Try calling them once. Sometimes I can't tell if the call center staff are Atomy employees or my own family. They sincerely try to solve any problem for you, feeling genuinely sorry, and with this kind of management, we even received the top award for consumer rights. Also, you know how people call the Fair Trade Commission the Grim Reaper for businesses? We even received a commendation from the chairman of the Fair Trade Commission in 2022, and it doesn't stop there. This year, we had another great achievement. Have you ever heard of a multi-level marketing company receiving a taxpayer award? This year, Atomy did. Not just among similar companies, but out of the entire distribution industry, we received the taxpayer award. We paid a lot in taxes. Yes, the amount was large and we paid diligently. Another thing that surprised me when I read the article was that it said we contributed to the national finances. Isn't that amazing? Next, our company Atomy has exported products from small and medium-sized businesses all over the world. The accumulated total has already surpassed $1 billion. I've been watching Atomy since we received the $500 million export tower. We even received the $300 million export tower, and it's really helping the national interest like that. And the one next to it is the ESG report. Do you know about ESG by any chance? It's a company's promise to be responsible for the environment, society, and to maintain transparent governance. But since that's not something included in the financial statements, companies usually don't want to bother with it. But why are companies being forced to do it these days? What happens if they ignore it? Investors pull out their money. Sovereign wealth funds, like our national pension fund, withdraw their investments. Even individual investors like us don't like it. So companies have no choice but to comply. But Atomy isn't a company that receives investments, right? We don't have to worry about it. But Chairman Park Han-gil has decided that for the sake of this industry and our members, Atomy will become a company that even cares about things like ESG. That's why it was issued. Can any company just issue that? No, they can't. It has to be verified by a third party, and Atomy's ESG report has undergone that process. It has also received ISO certification. It's an ESG report that was created in compliance with the guidelines set by the UN as a joint goal for the future. Anyone can download it from the Atomy website for everyone to see. Now, we also pay attention to sharing and giving back. Not just within the same industry, but where do we rank in terms of donation amount compared to the entire distribution industry? We're ranked number 1. The total accumulated donation amount has already exceeded 130 billion won. And not long ago, when our company experienced a fire, we made a huge donation. We donated several billion won, 10 billion won. When I looked at big companies like S Corporation and K Corporation, they all donated about 2 or 3 billion won. But how much did our company donate? We donated 10 billion won. And the reason I heard was that it took time for the government to tally up the damages suffered by those affected by the fire. So firefighters who died in the line of duty were not receiving compensation in a timely manner. You may have read articles saying that thanks to the chairman's quick donation of 10 billion won, all the firefighters who died in the line of duty were able to receive compensation because of Atomy. Now, with such great achievements and acts of sharing, do you think Chairman Park Han-gil deserves to be named the most respected CEO in Korea? Yes. GPTW. He has been awarded as the most respected CEO in Korea for 5 consecutive years. Shall we give him a round of applause? Now, let's take a look at what kind of products have created these impressive results, how they've achieved global growth, and established such stable indicators. But before we look at the products, let's first talk about a globally renowned investor. Let's talk a bit about Warren Buffett. Do you know why Warren Buffett is so famous? Why is he famous? Because he achieved a 20% annual return. And that too compounded for how many years? He maintained that for 60 years? He decided to retire this year. At the end of the year, he'll retire at the age of 95, and his accumulated return is said to be 5,500,000%. There are many investors who have achieved higher returns than Warren Buffett in a single year, but they couldn't keep it up for more than a few years. So people ask him, which companies do you invest in? And he says, I invest in companies that have products like a moat. So what is a moat? It's what you see in the picture on the screen right now. What do you see around the castle? There's a moat. That's called a moat. A moat that can defend against enemies or competitors trying to attack. He compared that to a product. Our chairman Park Han-gil described that moat as absolute quality at an absolute price, and that's why he called it popular luxury. Now let's take a look at what popular luxury products Atomy has, starting with Himohim, which has the highest sales. Himohim is featured in these 2 books currently shown on the screen. These books were not made by Atomy. One was written by Dr. Jang In-soon, who served as the director of the Korea Atomic Energy Research Institute, and the other is a documentary-style book that records hemohim and includes interviews with the researchers. Based on those books, I will explain. The Korea Atomic Energy Research Institute is our country's first national policy research institute for science and technology, the Atomic Energy Research Institute. Inside it, there was a food biotechnology research center. But within that research center, an atomic energy hospital, renamed the Korea Institute of Radiological and Medical Sciences. What does this atomic energy hospital do? It's a place that treats cancer patients. It's written in the book. It says that the hospital treated cancer patients and also took care of the health of research center staff who were exposed to radiation. What happens when our cancer patients receive radiation therapy? It kills both normal and cancerous cells indiscriminately. So what happens then? The levels have to go back up to normal before they can receive treatment again. That's why they've already been researching immunity for 20 or 30 years. And in 1997, it was designated as a national project. So, how much of your tax money? 5 billion won? That amount was invested over 10 years to develop this product. So, for the first time, it was recognized as an individually approved health functional food by the Korean Ministry of Food and Drug Safety, and the wording there says improves immune function. Now, can you just use any wording you want and get approval from the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety? Of course not. To use the word improvement, you have to go through clinical trials. A clinical trial where people with weakened immunity can return to normal levels. But when they tried to conduct that clinical trial, since it was being done by the Korea Atomic Energy Research Institute, do you think people would come or not? They said no one would come. Only one person showed up. But when they drew this person's blood, it turned out he was too healthy. So in the end, since it didn't work out, what really moved me when I read that book was that the researchers at the Korea Atomic Energy Research Institute, along with their families, voluntarily participated. And during the course of the study, NK cells, what we call natural killer cells. Since NK cells eat up bad cells, and then they confirmed that the production of cytokines, which are responsible for overall immunity, increased, they were recognized for this improvement. Shall we give a round of applause to our researchers? It was developed into a health functional food, and how great would it have been if Atomy had been the first to bring this in? But a regular company took it and started selling a month's supply for a whopping 770,000 won. According to the book, they didn't even sell 500 boxes a month. So Comapney, which only had 4 employees, was almost on the verge of bankruptcy. Who did they meet at that time? Chairman Han-gil Park said he would try selling it exclusively, so they lowered the product price to 1/10 and threw Atomy's global hub in more than 20 countries. What is the accumulated sales now? 2 trillion won. And in 2022, finally, the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety recognized that, surpassing red ginseng, the most sold and most exported health functional food in Korea is no longer red ginseng, but what is it now? It was recognized as hemohim. And that's not all. For 11 years in the same industry, what rank? It's the #1 product. It holds patents in 22 countries. It has as many as 21 internationally recognized SCI label papers. Moreover, Colmar B&H was able to get listed on Kosdaq thanks to Atomy. They continue their research while making an enormous amount of money. In 2023, it received certification for fatigue improvement, making it a dual-function product. According to the book, now it also covers cognitive function. They are also preparing to get certification for muscle strength improvement. What other certification did it receive last year? It received anti-doping certification. Now, whether you're a recreational athlete or a professional, you can safely take it without worry. Our chairman, regarding this HEMOM, from which batch number? From batch 30 to batch 60, did the price go up or not? Now, if you become a CEO, can you double the production of the company's best-selling product? You can't, right? I think this is a major reason why Atomy's HEMOM has established itself as a popular premium product. Now, secondly, let me talk a bit about cosmetics. At Atomy, we have our signature product. It's Absolute, made by Colmar, the company that creates world-class luxury brands. Let me ask you a question. Everyone, is your skin a beauty organ? Or is it a protective organ? It's a protective organ. So this organ serves as the first line of defense on the very outside. If it weren't a protective organ, even if the person next to you sneezed and just a single droplet landed on you, you'd all get sick and have to go to the hospital. If everything were absorbed as is. What this means is, no matter how good the ingredient is, can it be absorbed into the skin or not? It can't be absorbed. So what did Colmar do? They applied the targeted therapy technology from Colmar Pharmaceuticals to this cosmetic product. To put it simply, they developed a cosmetic product where whitening ingredients reach the whitening cells, wrinkle-improving ingredients reach the wrinkle-improving cells, and moisturizing ingredients reach the moisturizing cells, just like a navigation system. And what is the cumulative sales amount for this product? It's 1 trillion won. How many consecutive years has it been #1 in the same industry in Korea? It was updated last month. It changed from being number 1 for 5 consecutive years to 6. Next, people might ask, wasn't this all bought with money? But all 4 of these certifications are awarded by national institutions. The most famous one is the King Sejong Award. So far, no one in the cosmetics industry has ever received it. Korea is good at making things like IT, semiconductors, shipbuilding, and food. But every single year, approximately 45,000 new patents are filed. And from among all those numerous submissions, the patent examiners meticulously select just one exceptional patent. And what was chosen? Absolute. It's an award given by the Korean Intellectual Property Office. It's also the top science and technology product award. Yang Award. Every week, one product is selected, and our company, Atomy, has also received the top science and technology award, the Yang Award. And there's the NEP certification given to outstanding new technology products developed for the first time in Korea. The next generation world-class product, awarded to products that are highly likely to rank in the global top 5 market share within the next 7 years. Both of these certifications are given by the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy. But do you know which product is the only one to have received all 4 of these certifications? Only Absolute. Impressive, right? By the way, this slide was updated again just last month. For 16 years, what has the return rate been? 0%, they say. It actually says 0.2% now, which means that out of 1,000 units, only 2 are returned. Am I responsible for those 2 returns, or does the company handle them? The company takes care of the returns. But everyone, think about this for a moment. This 0.2% return rate. Atomy has about 600 different products. Does it make sense to have a 0.2% return rate just with 1 or 2 signature products, or not? It doesn't make sense. All 600 products have to be popular premium products. For this to make sense, they all have to be high quality. Let me introduce a few of these popular products, these mass market premium goods that have achieved this 0.2% return rate. Products that you can easily approach and feel familiar with. The first one is toothpaste. They were the first in the world to develop water-soluble propolis, but almost went out of business because they couldn't find a supplier. But after supplying their water-soluble propolis toothpaste to Atomy for around 3,001, it started being sold worldwide through Atomy's global hub. Then, Korea's Ministry of Food and Drug Safety started investigating which over-the-counter product sells the best, checking everything from bandages onward. But which product was it? Where did Atomy's toothpaste rank? Number 1. For how many years? It was selected as the best-selling toothpaste for 4 years. It grew into a company like that. And what about the toothbrushes? As for our toothbrush company, it's a product from a company called DEAWONG, which already supplies to large supermarkets and department stores. They were selling for about 1,600 to 2,001, but the company wasn't able to receive payment for their deliveries on time. It's the best toothbrush company in Korea, even one of the best in the world, but they don't have their own factory. They were always anxiously moving from one new factory to another. But then, after they started supplying to Atomy at around 991, what happened? Once Atomy started paying them in cash, they were finally able to have their own factory in Ilsan. On top of that, they hired people from the local area, and by exporting through Atomy, they even started receiving export awards. How often is one sold in Korea now? It was reborn as a toothbrush that sells one every second. There's also a famous ramen company we know. Actually, I kind of knew about this, but I found out more while researching for this material. The ramen company caught fire and was completely burned down. They lost all their business partners overnight. But apparently only Chairman Park Hang-gil of Atomy and his wife went to visit them. What do you think they did as soon as they arrived? They prayed. And then they asked the company president, how can we help you? He said that since the place was completely burned down, the bank wouldn't give them any loans. So he apologized and said, thank you for all your help up until now. He told them to look for another company, but the chairman said, our company has a lot of money. What are we saving it for? We'll lend it to you interest-free. We'll support you with 1 billion won, so rebuild your factory. But until then, will you sell our ramen or not? They said, we won't sell it. I was there at the time, and then suddenly the ramen disappeared. Yes. For a year and a month, the members were really wondering, why do we have to wait for that factory? We thought about it, but it turned out the chairman was right. In the end, that company rebuilt the factory after a year and a month. By automating the facilities, production efficiency increased by 17%. And with that, who did they give the increased ramen quantity to for free? Only to our Atomy members. They upgraded the quantity for free. So is Atomy a company that abuses its power? Or is it a company that grows together with its partners? Yes. Now, with this kind-hearted company, let's take a look at how you can earn system income through the compensation plan. There is a number you need to remember in this compensation plan. That number is 35%. Because in all network marketing companies, what percentage of commissions do they pay out? They have to pay within 35%. So within that compensation plan, you can see what kind of mindset the CEO has. For example, some companies give most of that 35% to the top-ranked members. In Korea as well, there are network marketing success stories of people earning 10 or 20 billion won. Now, some companies create compensation plans that turn these people into stars, like idols, encouraging lower-ranked members to chase after them. On the other hand, some companies give more to the lower-ranked members so they can quickly earn around 2 million won and get some help with their living expenses. There can also be compensation plans designed to make that happen. It's not about which compensation plan is right or wrong. You need to judge whether you can succeed with it or not. So, let me briefly introduce some simple features of our chairman's hidden compensation plan along with my own experiences. Atomy's compensation plan is a binary system that goes down 2 lines. Take a look at this diagram. As it goes down like that, the first 2 people I approached were actually my ex-girlfriends. Even now, I'm not really sure why I did that. I went to see my ex-girlfriend, but I couldn't even bring myself to mention Atomy. So I just said, my dad started a toothpaste company, and since it's cheap, could you sign up for me? That's what I said. But I guess I must have treated her well when we were dating. So she actually signed up for me. Then, for some reason, I added 2 more people on the right side. So in reality, I only personally recruited 4 people while doing Atomy. But the second person I signed up on the right side is now my wife. Back then, she was my girlfriend. You know, the daughter from that prestigious American network marketing family, the Asa family. She knows how to read a genealogy chart, too. She was like, wait, why are your 2 exes from the past here? Then she told me to have them withdraw immediately. Because all my social life was in the film industry, all my ex-girlfriends were from film companies. She knew their names, you see. So she was upset, asking why they were above her, and told me to have them withdraw. So how many did my 4 people suddenly drop to? It dropped to 2. So could I possibly be someone who could succeed then? No, right? But then my 4th recruit was my aunt. She sells children's clothes at an outlet in Seongnam, and she's really good at it. And she's got a silver tongue, too. She said she'd help her niece, so she started selling this foam cleanser and toothpaste, and while I honestly couldn't even sell 10, she was selling 300 a month. And since there was no membership fee, she went ahead and signed up 100 people, splitting them left and right. That's when I learned about the compensation plan. Up until then, I thought I only got credit for the people I personally signed up and the sales I made myself. But as you can see on the screen now, what unlimited levels, unlimited accumulation means is that the 50 people on each side that my aunt signed up, those 100 memberships also show up in my genealogy, and all that sales volume is visible to me as well. They're saying they'll recognize all of that, right? She became a sales rep before I did, but anyway, she's the one who brought me all those memberships. As time passed, do you see these flags? The flags of various countries? Global One Marketing. We can sign up members from 114 countries. I failed in several countries. I went out there without knowing much and failed in Cambodia, then thought the Philippines looked easy and failed there too. After failing twice, I thought maybe the 3rd time would be a success, so I went to Malaysia and failed again. I lost my life insurance and went to Indonesia and failed, and then a friend invited me to Russia and I failed there as well. You seem really happy to hear that I failed, Chairman, that is. But you know, I failed, but I was the only one who failed. All the local branches in those countries did well, and other people succeeded there. So I realized, even if I go abroad, things just don't work out for me. But then, one day, 2 of the lady members, who were about 120 levels below me, one said she was going to Mexico, and the other said she was going to Thailand. They had never even been to those countries, and they couldn't speak the language there. Someone in the neighborhood introduced them to someone. Do you think I told them to go, or did I try to stop them? Of course, I tried to stop them. I told them not to go, but they said they were going anyway. And once they went, they really showed the power of Korean ajumas. As soon as they arrived, they got 10,000 people in Mexico and 15,000 in Thailand. But you know that, who does that get recognized by? It gets recognized by me. So in Mexico, she even became a Sharon Rose Master, and then in Thailand, 3 Star Masters emerged, and they became Royal Masters before I did. Isn't that really amazing? That's what we call the power of Global One Marketing, unlimited levels, and unlimited accumulation. There's no membership fee, no monthly maintenance, and no referral bonuses. In other words, you don't get paid just for signing someone up. Why do you think Chairman Park Hang-il created it this way? If there had been a maintenance fee for each membership, do you think you could have even tracked down an ex-girlfriend? If there had been a maintenance fee for each membership, would my father, who failed 5 times, have been able to start over? I've never been there, and I can't speak the language. Someone in the neighborhood introduced her to someone. Do you think I told her to go, or did I try to stop her? Of course I tried to stop her. Naturally, I told her not to go. But she said she was going anyway. And when she went, she really showed what Keajuma is made of. As soon as she arrived, there were 10,000 people in Mexico and 15,000 in Thailand. But you know what? Who recognizes that achievement? It's me who gets recognized for it. So what about Mexico? She became a Sharon Rose Master there, and then in Thailand, 3 Star Masters emerged, and they became Royal Masters before I did. Isn't that really amazing? That's what we call the power of Global One marketing, unlimited levels and unlimited accumulation. There are no membership fees, no monthly maintenance, and no referral bonuses. You don't get paid just for signing someone up. Why do you think Chairman Park Hang-il created it this way? If there had been monthly maintenance fees, do you think you could have even tracked down an ex-girlfriend? If there had been monthly maintenance fees, do you think my father, who failed 5 times, could have started over? Are these conditions meant for the rich? Or are they meant for people who are struggling? I believe Chairman Park's mindset is hidden in encouraging people without abilities to take another shot at earning system income. At the same time, though, there is a cap on the commission. What am I talking about? If there are unlimited levels and unlimited accumulation, just how much commission are you planning to pay? For the sponsor commission, the maximum is 1.2 million won per day, and for the rank commission, there are 7 ranks. But for the very first rank, called salesperson, half of the allocated percentage is assigned to it. So please earn about 2 million won quickly so that you can live comfortably. And I've been feeling like there's a limit to rank lately, even though it's been set up that way. What does that mean? How many ranks do I have? 7? Imperial Master is finished. But how many people are there now? There are 14 people. Usually in other multi-level marketing companies, when things get stale, they just create another rank. But since earlier we said they give out 35%, that means they take it from the people below to give it out. But our chairman, whether there are 14 or 20 people, will he create a rank above Imperial Master or not? He said he won't create it, right? So right now, there are only about 600 products. There are only about 15 million global members. I went to support in Shandong province, China. The population of Shandong province is 100 million. That's an incredible potential. If there is a cap, does that mean we all have potential or not? It means we do. This is another feature of Atomy's compensation plan. If I were to pass away, we have to think about living to 90, right? How can I pass my ID on to my children and then to my grandchildren? It means it can be passed down, right? In fact, my Mexican Diamond Master's grandfather was a pastor, but he suddenly passed away due to heart disease. His daughter inherited that ID. But that child, she expanded her father's ID down to Colombia and up to New York in the United States. And last year, she became a Sharon Rose Master. Isn't that amazing? And earlier, she came up on stage here, right? The late Imperial Master Park Dong-chul was actually the one who introduced Atomy network marketing to my father at his workplace. But I heard that just before he passed away, he left a will with the chairman. According to his will, Park Bo-ok, the daughter of the late Imperial Master Park Dong-chul, has inherited his position and income exactly as they were, and is now running a truly impressive global business. Now, there are 2 questions, right? So with Atomy, how much can you earn and for how long? How much? 100 million won per month. For how long? Until you die? For how long? You can even pass it down for up to 3 generations. Keep that in mind as we move on. Now you've checked out the management, the company, the products, and the compensation plan. The most important thing left now is the system. About 10 years ago, when I was in the Young Leaders Club, Dr. Lee Sung-hyun, Chairman Park Han-gil, recommended a book to us young leaders. It was Samuel Huntington's book about the importance of culture. But when I read that book, the preface said that in the 1960s, South Korea and Ghana had similar national and income levels. But after 30 years, South Korea had joined the ranks of advanced countries, while how was Ghana still living? They were still living in poverty. Countless scholars have analyzed why this happened, and they all came to the same conclusion. It was culture. The Korean people are diligent, sincere, value education, and have a spirit of self-discipline. They said that this was the decisive factor that set the 2 countries apart. If you read the books, you'll see that this culture applies not only to nations, but also to smaller entities like companies, and even to the smallest unit, the family. Do you all agree with that? At Atomy, there are 3 main cultures. What cultures are they? A culture centered on principles. The culture of mutual growth that I mentioned earlier, and then the culture of sharing. While giving today's lecture, I tried to incorporate these 3 cultures as much as possible. On top of that, our chairman has even included all the know-how of our business partners into the system. Who oversees this system? The company is the one that oversees it. Because this kind of culture is important. So, did anyone here pay to attend today? You probably only paid for your meal, if anything. If there's no meal cost, then everything is free. From one-day seminars to all other seminars, the company manages the entire system and doesn't charge any fees. Everything is provided completely free of charge. Personally, I really like the online system. Before, I used to pay for a lot of courses, but after Atomy launched the business college, I stopped all of them. Now, even more renowned professors, sociologists, doctors, nurses, and experts give lectures on everything from leadership to products. Are these paid or free? They're free. In fact, our online system is so good that even CEOs from other companies come to observe it. So I think it would be good for you to keep that in mind. Here's something I felt while doing Atomy. There are so many different people I would never have met if it weren't for Atomy. I can travel around the world, meet those kinds of people, and have conversations with them because we share Atomy in common. There are entrepreneurs, NGO members, lawyers, missionaries, school teachers, jewelry designers. It's a business where you can meet all kinds of people. Thanks to this company, its culture, and its system, my father became an imperial master. But as soon as he became one, he asked my mother, "Honey, what's your dream?" And my mother, who is a devout Christian, said, "My dream is to become a pastor." I laughed. How could someone in their late 50s become a pastor? That's what I said. But starting from the time she was a diamond master, she attended our prestigious Christian university. With my father's full support, she graduated from Presbyterian Theological University and then from the Presbyterian Theological Seminary. She was ordained as a pastor after turning 60. Yes. In Yeoncheon at Hayang Church. I've intentionally covered up the sign. She built that beautiful Hayang Church, and since the end of last year, she has been serving as the senior pastor there. As soon as my aunt became an imperial master, she donated the entire one-time promotion bonus to the Community Chest of Korea, the Fruit of Love charity. My father and I actually thought she would give about 100 million won. So we dressed up nicely and went, but we were completely shocked. My father was making a huge fuss. But really, if she wasn't confident that system income would keep coming in, could she have done something like that? She couldn't have, right? But my aunt didn't stop there. She kept on donating continuously. So last year, she received a commendation from the Minister of Health and Welfare at the KBS Hall. Impressive, isn't it? Yes. The stories you're hearing now about this company's CEO, about the business owner, do these sound like the kinds of stories you'd expect to hear from a multi-level marketing company? Have you ever seen any movies about multi-level marketing around you? Have you ever watched movies like Master starring Lee Byung-hun? These are things that just can't happen in a multi-level marketing company, right? How could a multi-level marketing company talk about making donations or claim to be helping the national interest? What kind of business owner donates like that? It's just not common sense. So I think this is what we call information. Oh, of course, the CEO of a multi-level marketing company sells good products at low prices and donates a lot. Oh, of course, multi-level marketing distributors and business owners make lots of donations and contribute a lot to society. The moment this becomes common sense is Atomy information or not. I personally don't think it's information. On a nice day, I was camping with my father and we had a conversation. Why did you start multi-level marketing again when you said you'd never do it again? He said, "Hey, isn't it amazing that even someone like me who failed before can earn system income just by switching to daily necessities? But it's not just family." He said he could help friends, relatives, acquaintances, basically everyone he knows succeed. What was the only system like that? He said it was only Atomy. Lastly, I'd like to wrap up with a famous quote from Warren Buffett. Someone is able to rest in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. This is a famous quote from Warren Buffett, who is retiring this year. A long time ago, a businessman named Han-gil Park planted a small tree called Atomy and said he would take over global distribution. What has happened to that tree now as it has grown? It is helping to fulfill the dreams of households and small businesses not only in Korea but all around the world. With the hope that a small tree of dreams called Atomy will be planted in your hearts today, I will end my lecture here. Thank you.